We have players who have pockets of good moments in games. There's no cohesive team to me at the moment with Blues, and that's really quite painful to watch and see. Because we could graft out those results, we could grind out those results. We just don't have those kind of players and the quality in the squad.
So welcome back to Small Little Lions FC. And after the euphoria of our takeover at the beginning of the season and what appeared to be really good summer transfer business, we're in another relegation fight. Another season, another relegation fight. And if I'm perfectly honest, I didn't expect it this season. But why do we keep getting into this position? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. Me and Matt are going to give our own opinions or 3 reasons each of why we think this season in particular we're in another relegation battle. So I'm going to pass it over to Matt and say, okay, Matt, give us your first reason why you think this season we're fighting for our lives again.
So my first idea about why we're in this relegation battle this year is all about manager turnover. And it's a really obvious one. I'm sure all Blues fans will agree with me. And I'm sure extra to that, a lot of Blues fans are going to be watching this going Rooney Cook as the particular highlight of that manager turnover. But how typical is it of Blues? You know, we've survived the ownership under BSHL, in particular since that relegation in 2011. And then Knighthead come in and seem to be doing all the right things. And then now we're in this big relegation scrap. But I think, again, all Blues fans will agree the big ball that Knighthead have dropped is that appointment of Rooney. And, Cook and Wagner wanted to get their own man in. They got Rooney in, and there's no doubt about the impact that decision had on our club. We had Eustace in, had a lot of love for the fans and the connection with the fans. Rooney came in, and this isn't a Rooney video. I don't want to give Rooney any more airtime than completely necessary, but it is valid to this point of manager turnover. Just to list the names of the managers we've had Eustace, we've had Rooney, we've had Spooner for one game, we've had Tony Mowbray, and we've had Mark Venus. That is a lot of instability and turnover in the top position at this club in the context of running the team, managing the team, and it's been really difficult as a Blues fan to watch, hasn't it? A lot of inconsistency, a lot of instability, and I think that is one of the big decisions in why we face this relegation battle. And just a small thing, because it links into the lack of stability around leadership, and it could be classed as a separate point, just humour me, sneak it in there. And I think that's the lack of a captain as well. And I think when you have a lack of leadership or constant turnover in 2 huge positions of leadership in a club, it's inevitably going to lead to the, instability. And I think that's a big factor in why we're facing this relegation battle at the moment. Yeah,
and unsurprisingly, Matt, that is one of my three things. I think it would be silly if we didn't both have that, really. I mean, it has to be a factor. You don't get stability in a team by changing the manager 5 times in one season. I mean, I don't know if that's a record, by the way. I don't. Tell me any other team that's had 5 different managers.
I bet Watford have beat it.
Well, maybe not in one season, though.
Maybe not.
But of course, this creates this environment where the players have to get used to new personalities, new coaching styles, new staff around them. And they're trying to absorb all these different ideas. And suddenly, it's not surprising when you see matches when they're confused. That's not detracting from the fact they're still professional footballers and still have their, their professional etiquette, let's say, in order to provide their very bare minimum. But it can't be easy if you've got 5 different managers giving you 5 different sets of instructions. It's very, very difficult. So I think to me that's a clear and obvious major problem why we're in this position this season.
And also as well, just to double up on that, we're playing with Eustace's squad effectively, and we're playing with a team that are used to playing out of possession, playing on the back foot, and then more catching teams on the counter or only having a couple of chances. So when Rooney came in, and I think he was really stitched up with the saying of no fear football, and we were expected to play on the front foot, and we were expected to play this exciting football. But when you're dealing with an inherited squad and a style, that automatically can really cause a turbulent team, can't it? Because you're asking players to do something that they're not capable of. So there's many factors in this, but the biggie for me is that manager turnover.
I think as well that put a target on our back as well when they appointed Rooney, because a lot of fans from all other clubs were basically expecting us and wanting us to fail because of the way it was done. We've got history of this as well. Surely they must have looked at what happened when Zola was appointed to replace Gary Rowett. Exactly the same things happened. So we've got a history of doing it. it. It didn't work first time, so why would it work again? But it isn't just that. It isn't just about Rooney. It's about all the changes in managers.
Exactly.
So-
Yeah. Because
so,
I said when I started that point, I don't want this to become a Rooney session again or a bashing session again. But that definitely was the biggie. But you cannot deny the impact of 5 manager changes over the course of the team in the season.
Yeah, so I think we agree on that. So really, I think that most Blues fans would agree that's got to be a major factor of where we are at the moment this season.
Yeah.
So that's both of our first ones. So you've pinched one of mine. I'm going to let you go with your second one again, and hopefully you haven't got the same 3 as me. But what's your second one, Matt?
So for my second reason why we're in this battle, and I think it comes down to recruitment. I think we've had a poor recruitment in attacking areas. And, we've just had the January transfer window and we brought in Paik, Dizal and Pritchard, 3 midfielders again.
Yeah.
Why aren't we all know Stansfield's crying out for an attacking strike partner. And I know that the club said that there was no money to spend, but we did get a couple of bargains there with Pritchard and Paik. I know Dizal's on loan, but why couldn't we have used that Dizal slot to get a striker or someone more attacking? And it comes physicality as well and height in our team, in the attacking third. Whenever we had a corner, so we've just come off the back at the time of recording the Watford 1-0 loss at home. When we had attacking corners, we had no height, no physicality.
Yeah.
We don't offer much going forward, and Stansfield can only score off the reception he's receiving. And fair enough, I know that comes down to an argument in the midfield, but if he had a striking partner, a good striking partner, I think Stansfield could be a 15, 20-plus goal championship striker this season. He's a brilliant striker, but he hasn't got the service up there. So I think the recruitment in the attacking side of the team has been quite poor. However, just to caveat that, I'm not having a go at the recruitment. I think the recruitment's been okay in certain areas. If we look at the defenders, Laird, Drama and Buchanan have possibly been my 3 favourite players this year. So I'm not completely poo-pooing the recruitment of Birmingham City. It's just the context around the attacking areas. I think we need more. And, we're going to games, Dad. We're getting 27 shots, 30 shots. We're only getting 3 or 4 on target. Yeah. We're not scoring many goals. To me, we are crying out for more attacking players. Yeah. And along with that, more height and more physicality as well. And again, it comes down to recruitment. And I know a lot of Blues fans will agree with this because I'm reading it in the comments. We need an aggressive, go-getting kind of player. And we've referenced it so many times on this podcast. You Robbie Savages, you Stephen Carrs. We need players like that in the team, and we haven't got those kind of figures. And I think that worries a lot of Blues fans. And I think the recruitment in those 2 areas could have been better for us to get out of this battle this season.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think the fact, raised a really good point to the fact that, we bought in 3 midfield signings in January when we were crying out for a partner for Stansfield, up front. And we've already got so many midfielders. In fact, there's so many midfielders at the moment. A lot of them kind of are not even picked to get in the squad, matchday squad, but we're really short up front, and I think that's a really, really good point. My second point is linked a little bit to that. So my second point is that the reason why we are in the position we are at the moment is because of the legacy of the previous owners. So effectively, when Knighthead came in, their hands are tied because firstly they're dealing with the restrictions of FFP, which the previous owners put us in, and they made it clear that we couldn't do very much until this year is over because we're still off the back of 3 poor financial years that put us on the cusp of FFP. And therefore, because of that, we've had to make use of the loan market, and we haven't really paid big fees for any player now for quite a number of years because we can't afford to. So actually, the squad that we've got is effectively, low sort of fee paying sort of players plus loans, and it's always going to catch you up if you've got that. So if a team was invested in over a number of years, it's likely that we wouldn't be in this position again. And we say this word again because we've been in this position now where we haven't finished above 16th. I think it's something like the last 7 or 8 seasons. Yeah. We've been in one of those seasons. We were just above the relegation zone, so it can't go on. And in a way, Knighthead were very open with us when they came in. They made it very clear that we couldn't do very much this year. But what's linked to your point is I think we could have done better in January. So we haven't got much money available, but let's look at the positions rather than the amount. So let's say, okay, get 2 midfielders if you want them and get a striker to complement that. And they may have tried to get a striker but just couldn't get one because it's notoriously difficult to get deals done in January.
Especially good strikers.
Yeah, but this legacy of the previous owners will undoubtedly change because in the summer it will be the first opportunity for Knighthead to have a transfer window of their own. Then
Yes.
they came in just before the start of the season. So by that point, the transfer market was pretty much, or the transfer window was virtually closing. So no players came in that they wanted to bring in, and so they only had this small window in January and brought in 3 players. So actually, in this summer, with the very first transfer window we'll have under Knighthead.
I think we're still feeling the pain under FFP from the previous owners. Like, I mean, look at some of the salaries we're still paying. Sunjic, Hogan, they're still on massive.
Yeah, but they go. That's the point,
exactly.
isn't it? Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And my point is, when they go in the summer, we're going to have an absolute clear out and reset. And if we can stay up this season, it's going to be such an exciting summer for us to build on, hopefully, and build up the table next season. But you're right, we're still feeling that pain. There's still some players on big wages, but thankfully, I think the majority of the contracts come to an end this summer, don't they? And that's when we'll press the reset button, hopefully, to move forward.
Yeah. So for me, the previous owners obviously made such a mess of it that Knighthead are almost sort of coming in or disadvantaged. So that's my second point of why we are where we are, is because Knighthead haven't currently had the opportunity to invest in the squad.
Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah. So that brings me on to my final one. And, I was thinking about using the previous ownership, but I thought it was too closely linked to the manager turnover and also my recruitment in the attacking areas, because there was a bit of context there around the previous ownership and wage restrictions and FFP and stuff like that. So my final one, and it's a really simple one, because the Rooney thing goes away. Everything goes away if you have quality and a together team on the pitch. We don't. So just to call it in a snapshot sentence, my final one is a lack of grit, lack of graft, and a lack of quality in the team. And we see it week in and week out. And, even we referenced it we've just done a Watford post review video. We mentioned about the Iwu goal, and I said only 2 players went up to him and said, "Come on, mate, come on, pull your head out, let's go, let's keep going." The encouragement. And Laird loves going to the fans and going, "Come on, let's get behind us." But how many games, Dad, have we walked away this season and gone, "Where was the desire? Where was the heart? Where was the graft? Where's the quality?" And, let's not pretend, Blues fans, that we're the only club with trouble. You've got Reading going through a tough time. You've had Derby, you've had Portsmouth, you've had all these clubs go through such difficult times. So we're not the only club who's ever had to face financial difficulty or new ownership or manager turnover. All these clubs have these problems. But for me, if you have quality on the pitch, you'll still get results. You can have all this turbulent stuff going on in the background, but if you have players on the pitch who produce quality, you will still get points on the board. We don't have quality. And there's 2 things for me for this. It's a quality in terms of literal talent, and quality on, and then also graft, desire, and passion. There's sort of two edges to that sword for me. And I think if you can combine those and get that magical recipe, you will start to win games. But we seem to be a team at the moment where we have good individuals. Bakuna has a really good 10 minutes in a game. JJ has a really good 15-minute end to the game. We have players who have pockets of good moments in games. There's no cohesive team to me at the moment with Blues, and that's really quite painful to watch and see, because we could graft out those results, we could grind out those results, we just don't have those kind of players and the quality in the squad. So for me, quality is a big thing, and again, we come back to this point in the summer of having a big clear out. I'm hoping Craig Gardner and Knighthead look at more physical players, more talented players going forward, and hopefully, as I say, just a few players in there that can graft and grind and get us a couple of wins.
Yeah, I think that's important, isn't it? So when we're looking at the to transfer and what type of players we want to bring into the club, it's not just about their ability, it's about their attitude 100%. And what type of style and player they are. Yeah. But that's linked very closely actually to my second point, isn't it, about the fact that Knighthead haven't had the opportunity to invest in the squad. So that actually we're in this position, what you're saying is because we effectively have still got the squad that they inherited.
Yeah. And more to that is Eustace. It is Eustace's squad, isn't it? He had the last summer recruitment drive. Yeah. Mowbray brought in a couple of players he wanted in January, but any manager that comes in has to accept he's playing with Eustace's squad, basically. And there's just not enough quality in there for me.
I think that's when the reset happens in the summer, we have to realise we're starting from a clean slate and I start to get the type of players in that are really going to build this club.
For me, though, that's so exciting. To start from a clean slate. Yeah. I don't want to say drain the swamp because that has a really negative connotation around what's going on at the club, but it is kind of that theory that we get to just drain it all, clear it, start from scratch and actually put some good investments into the kind of players that we want.
I agree, and it'd be more of a worry that if we had a lot of players that had to remain on their contracts, and we have got a few that will be staying, but the vast majority contracts are up and it's just a clean start. So that's an interesting one. Yeah. And my final one, which this is not going to surprise you at all. I'm always banging on about this, and Blues fans who watch our videos or watched them over the last month will know that I'm always raising issues about our away form. That has been a real killer for us this season. We've generally, we're okay away from home. We'll win 6, 7, 8 games, which is enough with a few draws to supplement your home form. But we've won 3 and drawn 3, only lost 13 or something like that, or something stupid like that. That we've lost so many games away from home and not even picked up that many points, and that's killing us this season. So another reason why we're in the relegation battle is because we are not getting enough points away from home. I know that that the accumulation of points is a combination of your home and your away form. But of course, if your home form is good, it does take a bit of pressure off your away form. But normally it's a balance of both. But this season, our away form has been awful. We've been been to enough away games and seen, the disappointment, I suppose, of our not just results but performances. If we'd have got even if we'd got half a dozen more points away from home, which out of those amount of games that we've had, we wouldn't be in trouble. We still, with 6 points, we would still be in trouble. We wouldn't be in the precarious position that we are now. So to me, it's the away form that is another reason why. And I think we've got 4 more, as we record this video, we've got 4 more away games to come this
Huge ones as well.
This season. Even if we win all 4 of those, that would only give us 7 wins, which is
still 4.
7, but round about the same as what we would have won last season. I think we won 7 or 8 last season away from home, but that's assuming that we can win all 4. But how are we going to win 4 in 4 games if we've won 3 in 19 games?
And we haven't scored a goal in 3 games. It's just calling it what it is. The quality isn't there, and I completely agree. The away form has been
So for me, that's another big reason why we're in this position this season, is because we're dragged into a relegation fight because our away form is absolutely awful.
100%. And me and you at the Bristol City game away, and we were at the Stoke game away for those 2 wins. We obviously couldn't make the Cardiff one because it was in the midweek. So that's a struggle for us for the away games. But that feeling when you leave an away game with a win, it's just amazing, isn't it? But it's just sadly, this season we haven't had those moments. I wonder what it is, that missing cog again in the machine, that we just can't seem to get the away form firing. And I completely agree. And to look at that, you would argue if we did go down, let's say the worst happened, you'd have to look at the away form and go, that's one of the main contributing factors to why we went down.
We without a doubt, we've had some really poor performances away, haven't we? And that would need to improve.
But as you say, so we've still got QPR, Huddersfield, Rotherham, and
Leicester.
Leicester. If we're going to be objective, no one goes to the King Power expecting much in this league with the team Leicester have. But QPR, Rotherham and Huddersfield, in the context of where we are, we have to be looking at 9 points there. But as you say, with the form that we have, where are those? I can't see us getting those 9 points with where we are at the moment. But completely get that. We have to improve our away form this season and next if we want to push on.
I agree. But what do you think, Blues fans? You've heard our points about why we're in another relegation battle. And how many times have we heard the phrase over the last 8-9 years, we can't be in this position again? We're struggling, a big club, struggling against relegation. We can't ever be in this position again. But every year we seem to be in that position again. This has got to stop. It has to stop. It's got to stop, because all we're going to do each year is just muddle along and end up in another relegation fight next year. So you heard mine and Matt's points about the reasons for this year. I think this year is a bit of a unique year because of the takeover, because of the change of managers, and for other various reasons that we've been talking about. But nevertheless, whatever the reasons are, we're still in another relegation fight. And I don't know what you think, Blues fans. I'm actually fed up of it. If I'm really honest, it's just frustrating. It ruins your weekends, and when we lose games, and it's just not a nice place to be. We've already spoken about the reset that will happen this summer, regardless of what division we're in. There is going to be a reset in the summer, because obviously all the players that are going to be leaving through either end of contracts or on loan. And I'm hoping that we can start to get a bit more excited again in the summer for our club about moving forward. But we'd love to know your comments, Birmingham City supporters, about what you think about this season. Whether or not you think that the summer is going to bring us a lot more hope for next season. And just generally, if we can just stop ourselves being in this position again. So let us know in the comments below what you think. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already do so. And of course, don't forget to give us a thumbs up to like the video. And myself and Matt will see you on the next video.